Hey guys, this is Matthew and welcome back to Nerd News today, and it's time for another Marvel Legends figure review. We don't look at these quite that often, but well, things might change a little bit around here because they've just come out with the movie series of these Marvel Legends figures, and I'm all about these. And truth be told, if I hadn't just actually found them out in the wild, I probably wouldn't have bought these because they've been a little hard to get, I think. But yeah, I managed to find one of these at my local Target. I saw them in person and I was like, I can't resist these. So we're going to take a look at them today and see if they're actually worth your money or not. And today we've got Wolverine from the X-Men early 2000s series, which features a likeness of Hugh Jackman. And speaking of, you get not just one head sculpt of Hugh, but you get two different ones. Now, as opposed to the typical Marvel Legends packaging, this one here is a little bit more rectangular, a little bit more simple, a little more classy maybe in some ways. It features this powder blue color with a little bit of yellow for the X symbol, which adds just a pop of brightness to it. We've got a window display to take a nice look into what's inside the box of this figure here. But again, nothing really crazy, nothing that's really out of the ordinary for these toys. Both sides of the box, as well as the back, features a silhouetted image of Wolverine, which is very clearly the Hugh Jackman version of Wolverine. And we know that based on the information of how the hair looks, the jacket he's wearing, and just very small details like that that help give away the identity of who this character is supposed to be. I think it's actually very cool. There's no bio information or anything else in the packaging, or even a look at who else is joining this Wolverine figure in this line. And I don't think that's a problem here. I think they're going for something that's a little bit more different and almost more upper crust, if you will. This is more of an elite style figure here. There's no build a figure. It's very much a self-contained toy. So they're trying to keep things a little bit more classy, I think, and I am appreciating that so far. But again, really nothing extraordinary here whatsoever. It's very simple and also fairly collector friendly because it looks like you can just open up the top, take the figure out, put all the things back into the plastic when you're done with it, and slide it right back in the box. So it's going to be great for loose and on-card collectors, or folks who normally do collect loose but want to have a place to store it later that's relatively safe. But as for me, I'm not a mint on card collector, so let's go ahead, bust out this Hugh Jackman Wolverine, and take a better look at him from all angles. And here is our Hugh Jackman Wolverine now loose out of the packaging. And I hate to point this out right away, but this leg is a little bit off. Normally I wouldn't even talk about this thing right away, but I think you guys can kind of see it pretty clearly here. He's like kind of leaning over a little bit. For whatever reason, I took this guy out of the box, and yeah, immediately this joint is just not right. And you can see it fits in fine here, but I don't know what's going on here with this at all, because it looks like it's in there the way it's supposed to be, but it looks like it's oversized or something. I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to have to play that off screen, but yeah, buyer beware, Wolverine's going to have a messed up leg, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty not good looking. And that's kind of disappointing off the bat, so hopefully everything else here can kind of make me feel better about that. So let's talk about the big key thing here, and that's the likeness for this Wolverine. It doesn't look like Hugh Jackman. So let me grab the other likeness too so you guys can see them side by side. So personally, I think the head that's in my hands right now is way, way better than the one that's currently on his face. But I do think both of them are very good head sculpts. Really, the one that has the more sullen expression from every angle, it totally looks like Hugh Jackman from the film. They've nailed the eyes, they've nailed the facial expression, the brow, the nose, the mouth, the hair especially, of course. They got the hair on both of them, but yeah, facial expression is really good on this one here that has just a very blank expression. The one with him screaming is pretty good too, but oddly enough, it looks a lot more to me like James McAvoy than the James McAvoy head sculpt does in that Professor X Magneto 2-pack. And I think it comes down to the eyes as well there and the nose and how it's all kind of furrowing together. I also don't really necessarily like how every tooth is kind of hand painted there in that head. That kind of detracts from it a little bit. I think I would prefer them to actually be just very much more basic and plain, or just less of a deep outline around those. And in fact, here's a photo of what it looks like right now, and I'm going to add now on top of that a Photoshop version with those teeth removed, and you can see what I mean by that. But yeah, to me, this one with him snarling, it looks a lot more like James McAvoy as the Beast in the M. Night Shyamalan Hero Trilogy series of films. But I still think they both look pretty good. I just prefer one head much more than the other. Now, Hugh Jackman's hair in all those films was really, really awesome. Very interesting way that they found a way to do his hair. And I think the hair sculpting is excellent here too. I really like the paint job on this also. It's a very subtle paint job. And his sideburns are also really good too. You know, I look a lot at wrestling figures here on this channel, and you guys know I talk a lot about the beards not being painted that well quite often or just inconsistent. But this time around, the beard is looking pretty good. And that might be the fact that it's much more solid. There's not really any stubble around here. But even then, when it comes to like thick beards, I've seen Mattel struggle with that too. So Hasbro definitely did better with their paint job here. The outfit also looks really good. Now, this is Wolverine in his plain clothes. This is basically Canadian cowboy Wolverine, if you will. He's got his Calgary Stampede belt buckle on. And yeah, really cool jacket. He's got the plaid. It looks really nice though. I like the outfit a lot. I like the paint that's on it. I like the highlights that they did. Even if they are a little bright maybe and not integrated as smoothly as they could be, it's still nice that they're there. And it does make it look like it's more of a worn jacket. It's been around. It's seen some things. And knowing Wolverine, he's probably had that jacket since the 1950s. Likewise from the back too, similar weathering, similar color pattern. I also like the colors here too, because it is very much like the brown suit Wolverine, which is my favorite Wolverine suit of all time. It's a subtle little thing, but I appreciate that it's there. The sculpting of the jeans also is really good. The paint job, similarly, nice and weathered look. It's just unfortunate that as I look at those legs once again, I see how he's standing funny, and I don't want this anymore. I really, really don't like this, and I cannot do anything to keep this leg straightened out there. I don't like this at all. That really keeps killing it for me. You know, shoes are nice too. Loafers are cool, but again, I can't not look at this toy and not just see it as the leaning tower of Wolverine. If it wasn't for that right now, I'd be feeling a lot better about this toy, let me tell you guys. So let's discuss Wolverine's articulation. We've got the head joint that can move left and right, up and down. It is ball jointed. We do have a buck that moves in the torso, and it actually moves fairly well also, surprisingly. The waist should turn left and right, which it does. We've got ball jointed shoulders and double jointed elbows, so you can get some really good articulation in there. The wrists do move as well. Get some really fierce-looking Wolverine poses with these claws the way they are, too. Leg joints, we have legs that go up and down, double-jointed knees as well, and nice little swivelly foot. So you can get some pretty cool poses in there as well. From here, you can see that. Looking pretty solid, getting some nice deep poses there. Yeah, this is good so far, too. I'm digging that a lot. Well, let's go ahead now and let's try to swap some of these parts out. I'm going to see now how easy it is, because, by the way, these claws are super sharp, and they have me a little bit worried. But let's just go ahead, let's pop at least one of these hands out and see how it works. Looks like it goes back in pretty nice and simply there. Yeah, there you go. So you got yourself some plain hands also, so you can get to fisticuffs without stabbing a dude. But yeah, this is Wolverine. Come on, we have to use the clawed hands at all times. I think it's illegal not to have unclawed hands in a Wolverine figure. So there we go. Let's also pop out a head and see how the other head sculpt looks on him. That looks pretty solid too, yeah. Yeah, I stand by what I said earlier about the head sculpt. I still think it definitely looks better than the head sculpt he had on before. Let's do a quick side-by-side comparison with a few other figures, and I just happen to have Wolverine that we were going to review in the channel. We decided not to. This is from the Age of Apocalypse series, also from Marvel Legends. Yeah, quite a stark contrast between those two figures, huh? And speaking of beards, I've also got a Roman Reigns from a WWE Mattel series. So these figures are all meant to be in scale with each other. And you can see that, yeah, at least Wolverine is a little bit shorter than Roman Reigns. That's good. And just for argument's sake, too, I've got the Silver Centurion Iron Man that just came out recently. So again, just to kind of compare them to lines from the same manufacturer, you can see how they look here. I think they scale up just fine. So is this figure worth buying? Well, funky knee joint aside, because I know that's probably not going to be the same for everybody. It's just my luck that I happen to get one that is, of course, incredibly messed up. I will say that if you are a fan of the X-Men movies, and if you're a fan of Hugh Jackman, and really who wasn't a fan of his portrayal of Wolverine, you're going to want to get this figure. Now, there are, I'm sure, going to be other versions of Wolverine out there from this movie series that are going to have him in his X-Men suit, most likely, or the various things he's worn in his other films. Should you wait for those? That's up to you. I'm hoping that means they're also going to have different head sculpts and different facial expressions. So you might find a better one that you like. But for what we've got right now, I think this is definitely a buy. I like this plainclothes version of Wolverine. I think it's actually really cool because of that. And also because I'm not really a big fan of those X-Men leather suits they wore in those 2000s movies. So I'm pretty happy with just this being the way it is. I think the detailing is excellent. I think the sculpting is superb on it. Paint job is really great. A lot of good details, a lot of good things to talk about here. Claws are super sharp and they look good. Of course, you should always be concerned about how long they're going to stay the way they are and if they're going to be able to hold their shape, so do be careful with them. But I think this is a very good, solid start that shows a great person to kick things off with the movie line. And really, this is the first Hugh Jackman in this Wolverine look we've had in like over a decade for sure. Or at least more so in this affordable price point, because we know that Hot Toys, I believe, has done Hugh Jackman Wolverines. But yeah, if you want to get one of those, you're talking like $300 probably. And the last time we saw Hugh Jackman Wolverine was those Toy Biz figures. And those weren't bad either. But this is definitely many, many steps above those. You know, at the time, those X-Men 2000 figures from Toy Biz were considered pretty great because those sculpts were good. But, you know, a lot has changed in the many, many years that's been since that movie came out. And I think this is a very good addition to your Marvel series, to your Marvel figure collections. So if you'd like to pick up this Hugh Jackman Wolverine for yourself, go ahead and use our Amazon affiliate link below, which helps us out a ton and costs you guys nothing extra. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe to check out all the action figure reviews we do here. And while you're still watching this video, why not go in the comments and let us know what you think about this toy? And more importantly, what you think about these head sculpts. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys here next time.